Hey guys, welcome to part 3. Alpha Seagull back at it here again with the third upload today. Should be, if I'm doing this right. Again, these tier lists are based on late game. If you are in the end of the game, you have access to pretty much all of these. This is what you want to use. That being said, here we go. Best weapon in the game, without a shadow of a doubt, Antlion Sword. There's no question of this. It has the best DPS. It doesn't have any stun, which is its only drawback, but its DPS more than makes up for that. Furthermore, slashing is generally the best damage type in the game. If you get a spicy slashing weapon that has positive or neutral type interaction with every enemy in the game, except for one, which are fireflies. You know, fireflies, the thing that die in like 2 bow shots? Yeah, fireflies. They are the only thing that's resistant to spicy slashing. Everything else is either neutral to it or weak against it. A spicy slashing Antlion Greatsword is generally going to do well on everything. It's not going to do the best on everything, right? But it's going to generally deal with everything in the game. Next up, you got Salt Morningstar. This is the stun weapon. It's the only weapon you want to use if you're trying to stun your enemies. And you can just spam things until they're stunned and then just wail on them. This is great, great, great for Antlions, which is going to be in my new Antlion video that's also coming out pretty soon. I don't know when, but I'm going to make a video regarding combat guide for Antlions, and this is going to be in it. And the Salt Morningstar is great for Antlions. If you have a level 7, you can just hit them 3 times, they're stunned, hit them 3 more times, they're dead. Easy. Easy clap. Not even close. It can even handle multiple Antlions at the same time. You can double hit them. Like, even the Antlion Sword can't really do enough DPS to completely kill an Antlion before he has a chance to attack you. But the Salt Morningstar can. If you have these 2 weapons, you are set. You are pretty much set for the entire game. There's almost no other reason why you would want to use anything other than these 2 unless you're underwater. Then you're using like Wolf Spider Dagger or something, but either way, generally these 2 are just the best. Next in S tier, you got the Insect Bow. It not only has the highest DPS out of all bows, but bows themselves are really, really useful in this game. You're going to need a bow for everything, and this is just the best one. Especially when paired with things like the Antlion set. You're going to do a lot of damage with bows. There's a lot of enemies you can deal with solely just bows that make some of the harder enemies like stink bugs really, really useful. Now, I know I say hard enemies like stink bugs, and you're thinking, bro, don't you know wolf spiders exist? But here's the thing. You can parry a wolf spider. Again, this is considering max potential. You can parry a wolf spider. You can't parry gas. Like, what am I supposed to do against gas? Just parry the particles? No, you're gonna take damage against a stink bug no matter what, unless you're carrying a gas mask. Sometimes, if one of them jumps on you, you don't have a gas mask on you. That's where the arrows come in. You can spam arrows at it all day, and it's not gonna be able to do anything. It's just gonna sit there and die to your arrows. And then the same goes with a lot of the more annoying enemies in the game that are harder to parry. Plus, there's so many enemies that you can just cheese by spamming arrows at them. You can trick their AI. Now, I don't usually do things with cheese because I feel like it's stupid when the actual game itself is already so easy. But come on, dude. It's like, there's no reason to not put a bow in S tier, and this is the best one. If any bow is going to land in S tier, this is the one. Next, you got the Broodmother Mace. This is technically better than the Mint Mace because they're basically the same in terms of stats. The only difference is the Mint Mace is restricted to fresh damage, while the Broodmother Mace can have all types of damage. Now, they both have the highest damage numbers in the game, but as clubs, they're pretty slow, so they're just damage dealers. Mostly if you're dealing with something that's resistant against most other types of damage. Obviously, nothing's resistant against spicy slashing, but there's a lot of things that you're going to deal more damage with using a general type weapon like ladybugs and like roly-polies. In this case, you want a spicy Broodmother Mace for roly-polies, and you want a Mint Mace for a ladybug. Or just a Mint Broodmother Mace, though the Mint Mace is easier to get. Next, you got the Crossbow. Self-explanatory, it's just like the Insect Bow, except not as good. It deals more damage, but it's way slower. So it's really good for like sniping really weak enemies, but generally not as good in terms of DPS. That being said, still a bow. Bows are really useful, thus landing in A tier by default. Next, you got the Black Ant Sword. It's the thing you're using if you don't have an Antlion Sword. Again, really good DPS. Spicy Slashing is the best type in the game. Slashing in general is the best damage type in the game. This is really, really reliable. You can throw a shield on. Since it's one-handed, you can just do a lot of really good things with the Black Ant Sword. Red Ant Club. I know this is a tier 2 weapon, and this is put in A tier along with Broodmother Mace and Mint Mace. But the thing is, if you don't have either one of these, this is a pretty good close second. And it's disgusting considering how early game you get this. Next, we got the Mosquito Needle. The damage isn't that good. It's also a stabbing weapon. Honestly, the only reason why it's here is because it has lifesteal. Now, that being said, it also works with the Blade Master mutation because it's technically a sword. So mid-game, if you don't like worrying about repairing your weapons, this is the one you want to use. Let's be honest. It's good. It works. It does enough damage to get the point across. It gives you lifesteal, makes you survive longer, especially when stacked with a really bulky armor set like Ladybug. It's just really good for living a long time, you know? And thus, it goes in A tier right alongside everything else. Now, technically, would I be choosing these two over these two? Absolutely. But these two are closer to the rest of these than they are to the rest of these. Let's be honest. Next, you got Sprig Bow. It's a bow. Self-explanatory. Next, you got Wolf Spider Dagger, and it is here because it's one of the only good underwater weapons. Crazy. Next, you got Sprig Bow, the poor man's red ant club that you almost never use because you just kind of go straight to red ant club. But that being said, the damage is still solid, right? So it still has damage. It's not as good as red ant club, but it still has damage, so you might as well use it, right? Next, you got the Singer Spear. It is basically the Mosquito Needle, except instead of having lifesteal, it has crits, sort of like Coup de Grace. And, I mean, it's pretty decent. It doesn't have lifesteal, so it lands a full tier under it, but, I mean, it does the same damage, so it's not bad. Now you got the Pebble Dagger, which is pretty much identical to the Wolf Spider Dagger. I would say the Wolf Spider Dagger is slightly better, but that's only because it has poison. They both have the same damage. I think this one has stun while this one doesn't, but that's pretty much useless. You're using a dagger anyway. How often are you going to stun the enemy? I think parrying does more stun than these two daggers, right? Now that being said, poison, as negligible as it is, it's technically not zero, so I would rather use the Wolf Spider Dagger rather than the Bone Dagger. But hey, whatever. It's really just a stylistic choice. I think also there's a real reason to use the Wolf Spider's Dagger instead, and that's because it's way easier to repair, right? Because wolf spiders, they're all over the place. If you know how to fight wolf spiders, you have tons of materials to repair this. These, you gotta go all the way to Pond Depths for them. And the bones for them are few and far between. So honestly, if I were to choose between the two, I would pick Wolf Spider Dagger just because it's way easier to deal with. It's way easier to repair, right? But still, they're both bad weapons in general. They only work as the best weapons underwater, and even then, that's by default. Next, you got the Insect Hammer. This is what you want to use to stun if you don't have the Salt Morningstar, which does work for quite a few enemies. Like if you're using like red soldier ants, using the block cancel with the hammer. Basically, block canceling is when you do a move and then block, and it cancels the rest of the animation. And basically, if you do this with good timing, you can get out hits with a hammer really, really fast, right? Now, it's not a good weapon, but theoretically, if you don't have anything better, it's pretty alright. It's pretty alright. Next, you got the Larva Blade, which is pretty much identical to the Wolf Spider Dagger, actually. Except larva are, unironically, larva are harder to deal with than wolf spiders. Because at least wolf spiders, you can cheese, man. Larva, they're just kind of all over the place. They're few and far between. The only time where you can find enough of them to really work with larva blades is in a giant cave where there's like a dozen of them. So there's no real point in working with Larva Blade. Now, the Rotten Larva Blade is a good starting weapon. I mean, I used it for my Wolf Spider speedrun, but either way, it is what it is. It's literally just the same as Wolf Spider Dagger, except harder to repair in late game. And on top of all that, you can't use it underwater. It's considered a sword. It's not considered a dagger, even though they both deal chopping damage. So other than that, they're identical. They have the same damage, same speed, same poison. It's just the same. The only difference is the way it looks. Then you got Padlet Dagger, which is just worse version of these two daggers. That I see no purpose in using this unless you have absolutely nothing else. By the time you reach the pond, you probably should have a Wolf Spider Dagger already, so no purpose, really. Then you got Trident, which is hilarious because Trident presents itself to look like the best underwater weapon. You know, it's got the same damage as the Bone Dagger, except it's also got stun. Ooh, good stuff. It's got more stun. Except you realize most of the enemies underwater are resistant to stabbing damage. What's the points? What? Why make an underwater weapon that does resistant damage to most of the underwater people? The only thing that's actually weak against it is water fleas, which die in like 2 hits to everything. It doesn't matter. Water fleas are so weak. They deal less damage than mites. Like, come on, dude. There's no purpose in this existence. Like, please, Obsidian, buff this thing. Come on. Then you got the Insect Axe, which is a functioning axe, and I could probably put it over here, but honestly, how often are you using axes to fight with? You probably don't even want to use this to fight. You're probably only using this as a tier 2 weapon for chopping down things. But this also works, so it's like this just completely outclasses it. This is just a tier 2 chopping weapon that's also a dagger that works underwater. This just has more versatility. As bad as the weapon is, it's just better, right? And then you got all the starting weapons, the Pebble Axe, the spear, the hammer. These all are what you're using if you don't have anything else. If you're just starting out the game, this is what you're using. As soon as you get ant parts, you're rocking with this, always. You can skip everything else. I've never been in a situation where I've needed everything else. I mean, well, yeah, maybe the bow, right? But again, the bow is good because it's a bow, right? Outside of that, you don't need any of this. You can just skip straight to this guy. Use this for, like, chopping things down that are tier 2, right? And then you can just move on to these higher tier weapons. There's no purpose, right? So that being said, these are just kind of useless because they are. They're one step above fighting with your hands, and that's the only reason why they're there. I mean, I will say that the best weapon out of the 3 is probably the spear. So, you could use the spear for general damage. Now, if you're fighting a wolf spider with this, the best weapon is the axe because wolf spiders are weak against chopping damage. That being said, though, that's only useful if you want to speedrun WoW difficulty on wolf spider %. But outside of that, you're probably not using any of these weapons against wolf spiders. You're just using spears because they have the best DPS overall, like minus resistances and stuff. So that's pretty much it. That's all the weapons. I don't care about early game. Don't mention early game. So if you disagree with these, I mean, you're probably just wrong. Let's just face it. No, I'm not trying to be toxic. It's just, they're very clearly better than others. Like, there's some that are very clearly better than others. Outside of, like, you can say nuances for, like, early game. Like, if you want to say best weapons for, like, how much it comes in clutch, this is, like, double S, maybe even triple S. Like, this goes well beyond where everything is, because you can get this so damn early. And yet it's one of the better weapons in the game. Like, it's right under these 3 in terms of melee. Like, there's no purpose. Like, the fact that there are only 5 melee weapons that I would genuinely consider better than one of the early game weapons that you get is kind of disgusting, right? But, again, this is late game usage. This is what you want to use if you're super late game. Like, you can kill Broodmother with this, right? Odds are you're better off with this, but you can kill Broodmother with this. And, I mean, frankly, there's a Broodmother percent speedrun as well. Technically, you could just craft a red ant armor, get all the things you're actually required to get, and then head over to Broodmother. Pretty much as simple as that. Which I think what you're required to get, I forget what you're required to get for a Broodmother category. But regardless, I mean, that's for another video. That's for another speedrun that I plan on doing. I haven't gotten around to it yet because I don't really have that much time. I got a lot of work and stuff. But I do plan on doing that. It's just, you know, every run's like an hour and a half. So if I don't have a flawless run first thing, right, I probably have to end stream for the day because I can't stream for like 5-6+ hours in a day. I just gotta stream for however long I can without passing out. Like, as it is right now, I'm way past my bedtime. But anyway, that's been enough for this video. I talked over this enough. I'll see you guys later. Hope you enjoyed. I got, again, way more grounded content coming up. I got grounded content on my Twitch. I'm going to start streaming there more right now. I'm trying to get affiliate. I already got the followers for it. I just need the viewership and the actual streams, right? So come and watch my streams, please. I'm trying to get affiliate before February. That way I can do a subathon when Elden Ring comes out. And I really want to do it because I've already taken the vacation days for it. So it's going to be a 7-day subathon. I'm probably going to do it regardless, but I want to be able to get subs in the process. That's the point of a subathon. But again, that's coming up in the next month. So I'll see you guys later. I hope you enjoy. Make sure to follow my Twitch, subscribe, watch everything, watch my content. I'm putting out a lot more. I'll see you guys later.